Hey, beautiful souls, I am back with several different prophetic messages. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the message, okay? Just keep in mind that if you feel like it does not apply, does not necessarily mean that it may not be happening at this exact moment, or 2 weeks from now, or 3 weeks from now, it could be happening, okay? So keep that in mind as well, too. Okay, so this first message that I received was about some of you guys are being opened up to love, okay? You're being opened up to love. And this is not something that you can control, is just what I heard. This is something that's being divinely orchestrated by the Most High, okay? So it's the song Atlantic Star. The song that goes, when love calls, you better answer, okay? So that is a specific message for some of you, is just what I heard. Do not take this as a message. If you're someone who's going around seeking for love and you're doing this on your own rather than allowing it to come naturally for you, this message is not for you. But those of you who are sitting back and trusting the process of just allowing divine timing to lead you and guide you to the right person who you were meant to be with, this message is for you, okay? And then there was another song that came through as well, too. This is by the Isley Brothers, Choosy Lover. You guys should go listen to that song because there was specific lyrics inside that song that was sending a specific message, okay? So I say all that to say, just to briefly give you a hint of what it was talking about. I was talking about that I've been with this person cheated on me, but I've been with this other person and I trust them to the point of I don't have to worry about them, doing the same thing that the other person has done. So in particularly, what kept standing out the most was choosy. Some of you are definitely being choosy about the romantic partnerships that you are choosing to get into. Some of you have already been down this road where you've been cheated on, you've been lied to, you've been deceived. And this is not only applying to males who have been cheated on by females, okay? This is also males who may have possibly cheated on, I'm sorry, did I say that right? This can go both ways, whether you male or female, because remember, we all have feminine energy within us and we all have masculine energy within us, whether you are male archetype or female archetype. So keep that in mind as well too, okay? So I say all that to say that if you were someone who has been cheated on, it's almost like this message is for you, okay? In any way, shape, or form, whether it was a situation that you were being deceived even by friends. Let's just say maybe that your friends weren't necessarily, they didn't have your best interests at heart. And you may have hung around them in the sense of thinking that, these people are for me, they're for you. And it's almost like revelations are being revealed at this time, okay? It's almost like we're kind of revisiting the past at this moment because God has given us clues to what needs to be healed going forward. So just keep in mind that in order to heal your future, and even somewhat of your present moment, you sometimes have to visit the past. Those are messages and those are divine guided information that's being given to you saying, hey, this, and that happened to you in a previous lifetime. So in this lifetime, you're going to have to do something different. You're going to have to move a little different, not to repeat that same cycle again, okay? Anyway, so what just came to mind is this movie called Stardust, okay? It has Michelle Pfeiffer in it. Really cute movie, and honestly, if you're somebody who's on a twin flame journey, that is a movie that you really should watch. You guys can go and watch it on, what platform was that on? I don't watched it like several different times to the point that I showed it to my kids or whatever, and they really liked it or whatever, and they're different ages in a sense. But I say all that to say that, again, if you're somebody on this spiritual journey, go watch that movie. You can Google what platform it's on. I forgot which one it's on, but Stardust. Really funny, really cute romantic movie, but some of you guys have had to experience some of this along your journey, meaning like there have been people who have not been for your highest good. They may have, whether it was people beyond the veils or whether it was people within this physical world, okay? And this is a situation of, I just heard as well too, whether it was a situation of it was, family members or friends or, just in general, because you have to understand one thing. If you watch that movie, it is a very real depiction of what some of us have had to experience on this journey, whether it be the situation of people trying to deceive somebody, whether it was a situation of somebody trying to, do witchcraft or, do any type of, hexes or curses or whatever the case may be in order to trip you up, to keep you off of your journey in a sense. Very cute movie, very lighthearted, I feel like, in a sense. It'll make you laugh, but it also touch your heart at the same time. Again, Stardust with Michelle Pfeiffer in it, okay? Anyway, so that's just what came to mind. So I felt like Spirit wanted me to show that. Anyway, so moving on. So the next message I received was some of you guys should be mindful of even your own. I hate to say this, but it is what it is. When God reveals it, I have to say it. Okay, you may not want to hear the truth, but it is what it is, because sometimes even your own can deceive you on this journey. Okay, and I say all that to say that it was almost like going into a store, and let's just say that, I'm just kind of describing it to you how I saw it. So let's just say that they've been, okay, thank you, Spirit. So it's almost like they had a group of people who was in the forefront of some of these businesses and establishments that some of you guys had to deal with. So one thing you have to realize is, as a Black person, I'm speaking for Black people right now, as a Black person, you have to remind yourself to make sure that you're not being used by other people, okay? Because sometimes people will hire you in these different positions and they will have you doing their dirty work in the sense of cleaning up their mess, okay? Because the way I just received this, thank you, Spirit, the way I just received this is, some of you guys have experienced a situation where it just seemed like maybe, okay, so for everybody, everybody's situation may be a little different, but let me just kind of show it to you how it was being shown to me. So let's just say, if maybe the people that you have been dealing with, maybe all these people were foreigners in a sense, okay? Like, let's just say if you were calling, like, let's just say your local electric company, or if you was having to go to the, if you was having to renew something, or if you was having to, let's just say something that you needed, that you needed to reach out to an establishment to get some information or something that you needed. Let's just say that it was no longer the foreigners kind of sitting in the forefront. So now it's almost like, as an example, it was like, imagine foreigners being in the forefront. So therefore, sometimes it could be a language barrier that's in the way, or whatever it could be in a sense, okay? But now it's to the point that they're using Black people as the last result, okay? So you have to understand this. And when God is showing something to you, he is trying to tell you that and remind you of, hey, listen, I understand that, these people look like you, but that does not necessarily mean that they are moving like you, okay? And I say that to say that you have to keep that in mind. And let me say this, I'm not talking about everyone, okay? This is where you have to use your intuition to see that who is for you and who is not for you, because God doesn't want us to make the mistakes of, because you have to, okay, thank you, Spirit. You're giving me so much right now. Okay, so you have to understand, like, there's a scripture that was in the Bible, and it talked about people who were of a particular race. And let's just say that those people, as an example of, let's just say that those people were, let's just say God's, okay, thank you, Spirit. Let's just say that they were the bloodlines of Jesus, right? So these people are the bloodlines of Jesus, but God wants you to know and understand that just because these people look like you in the same color as you does not necessarily mean that they are from that same bloodline, is what I'm hearing, okay? So that's what the Most High wants you to understand. Just because they may be the same shade as you does not necessarily mean, I don't care if you African American, whether you are Indian American, or whether you Native American, whether you Middle Eastern American, it doesn't matter, or Asian American, whatever the case may be. The point of the matter is you have all your different groups of people, even African people, whatever the case may be. You have all your different groups of people, but just because people are within your same ethnicity does not necessarily mean that they are all from the same bloodline, okay? Spirit just wanted me to share that with you so that way you understand. And that's confirmation, right? So I say that was confirmation. So I say all that to say you have to understand, just because somebody looks like you does not necessarily mean that they move like you, okay? Hence is to say, and I'll give it to you in a minute, I have a scripture, okay? And but basically you should be mindful, even people that look like you, even walk with caution in the sense of whether they are truly for you or they are truly against you, okay? So you have to remember, and thank you, Spirit, what's also coming to mind as well, too. You have to remember that Jesus was considered a Jew, and then you have to also remember that some of the Jews were the same one who convicted Jesus and wanted him to be hung on the cross. So even his own was hanging him on a cross as well, too, on top of the, the political officials, as well as the, the spiritual leaders and all of the other people in a sense. Those people wanted to see him hung on a cross. So again, this is where Thank you, Spirit. I'm also hearing too as well that this is where you have to be mindful of that if you don't know your history, sometimes people can be doomed to repeat it. So it could just be in a different way, shape, or form. So you have to be mindful. The Most High is giving me this information right now because He wants you to be aware of this information so that way that cycles aren't being repeated. So I say this again for the one last time, the third time. Things come in threes, okay? So just because someone looks like you does not necessarily mean that they are moving with integrity, morals, and value that you may personally have in a sense, okay? And not only that, what I just heard, thank you, Spirit, is their heart space may not be like your heart space, meaning that they may be, they're the same color as you, but they could be from a different bloodline. So keep that in mind as well too, okay? And just because we're all of one race does not mean we're all from the same bloodline. So that's something you have to keep in mind. And then the next message that I received was, within that same dynamic, something about Geminis. So if you know Geminis, it's almost like Geminis kind of coming on the scene. And it's almost like those who have done the inner healing work is what I just heard. So be mindful of that. Some of you guys may be running into some Geminis that are going to have the same mindset as you. And it's almost like, I'm getting these pictures like they're coming in like this. Okay. So anyway, and this is more of their feminine energy. Okay. So whether you're man or female, or whatever, if you know you've done that inner healing work, but I say all that to say this is only those who are, this message is for those who are doing that inner work. Okay. Anyway, so the next message that I received was, something about the bank. It's almost like something about the bank is trying to, you guys have to realize, some of you guys are more, and I just saw 1111 as I said this, okay, that represents the twins. Some of you guys are really in high vibrational energy. You may think that you're not, but you are truly in high vibrational energy to the point that it's like some of these entities and institutions out here, they know who you are, and it's almost like they purposely try to, they know that you're a key, okay? I'm gonna just say it like that because that's just what I heard Spirit say. They know that you are a key to a lot of things that is happening here on this earthly plane, okay? And you're gonna have to remember that as well too. So it's almost like I just heard like you hold a lot of weight and you may not even realize how much weight you hold. And I don't mean like physical weight, like luggage weight. I mean like some weight, okay? Like you carry some weight, some spiritual weight, okay? Anyway, so the next message that I received was, okay, some of you guys, again, pay attention to your dreams, pay attention to visions or just little spurts of insight that the Most High may be giving you right about now. Because, again, this is some information that you may need to know. And there's some people that you have to be mindful of, whether it's a situation of its family members, whether, you know, it doesn't matter. It could be your mom, it could be your father, it could be your sister, cousin, brother, mother, you know, nobody's off the table. Keep that in mind as well too. Your aunt, your uncle, your sisters, your brother, you know, friends, so-called friends, and co-workers, bosses, it doesn't matter. Your neighbors, whoever, somebody at the grocery store, whoever, you know, I'm not saying to walk around, be within fear, but I'm just telling you it's important to basically tune into your intuition and just pay attention to what's coming up, okay? Because this message came through as if it was like pertaining to family, but again, it could be different situations and different scenarios for some of you guys, okay? This was pertaining to like maybe a family member, was like the next door neighbor of mine. It's almost like God was revealing to me like someone who was kind of like coming to visit her, but I felt like they didn't really have good intentions in a sense, okay? So that's something that you guys are going to have to pay attention to as well too. Like if somebody just kind of randomly show up or reach out to you or just wanting to talk to you, I just heard that they're curious to what you're doing in a sense, okay? So be mindful of that because as I said before, sometimes people aren't necessarily moving with integrity as well too. They're not necessarily telling you what they're up to, kind of leaving you in a darkness about what they're doing in a sense, whether it's malicious or not. Okay, so this next message came through was this is like some matrix type stuff. I received a message this morning and then it was about red and it represents blue, okay? And the funny thing about this was in one vision of the dream, it's almost like God was showing me two different situations. If you think about the Matrix when what's his name? Oh my God. Anyway, when Morpheus, Larry Fishburne, when he was talking about the red pill, the blue pill. So I'm not talking about pills in a sense. But in this dream, this had something to do with almost like taking the blue pill or whatever the case may be. Okay, so one pill will allow you to be within the matrix, and the other pill releases you from the matrix in a sense. But the way I saw this in the dream was, it's almost like some of you guys have been in a situation where the Most High have been trying to get you to just change. Okay, so sometimes when you're a certain age, and I just saw 444, which is representing family or whatever. Sometimes when you're a certain age, you're seasoned in a sense, and it's almost like that you've been used to doing repetitive things over and over and over again in a sense, and being in repetitive cycles, habits, and patterns and all that other stuff. And it's almost like when God is coming along and asking you to change something, that can be very hard for somebody of a specific age, okay? And I say that to say because they've been so used to and conditioned to doing things their own way that when the Most High comes and say, hey, I need you to get out of that energy. I need you to do something different. We're not moving like that anymore, okay? It's almost like that old way of moving has nothing but cobwebs and dust on it, and God is like, I need you to release all that stuff from you, and I need you to kind of step back so that you can release all that, dust and all the cobwebs from you in a sense, okay? So in one side of the room, it was almost like someone was kind of like sleeping, as if they was having a death and a rebirth situation taking place. And it's almost like that was happening in a sense, where that was just to say like that was a blue pill that was being, and I just saw 555, as I said, that 555, the more fives it is, the more changes it's talking about that's needed, okay? That 5 represents change. So anyway, so it's almost like somebody had drunk a glass of orange juice with some blue pills in it in a sense, okay? So that was just one example. The other example was on the other side of the room. It was almost like the way I got this is a twin flame and their spouse or whatever, the twin flames. It's almost like wherever it was that they were staying, should I say, the way I saw this is like they were packing up really quick in a hurry, okay? And I say all that to say that some of you guys it's almost like you're moving into another reality. It's just what I heard. And not only you moving into a new reality, but it's almost like you're going to find yourself doing it very quickly in a sense. I just heard like quantum leap in a sense. And not only that, but it's almost like, because as you pack up and move out, it's almost like the Most High energetically already have somebody in place of who he wants to take your place in a sense. So if it's a situation that you guys are actually moving out of your home or moving to a new location in a sense, or just packing up and moving in general, it's almost like the Most High already knows who he's going to have to be within that same unit, or that, let's just say whatever property maybe that you may have had that you're giving up now. And it's almost like they're going to be there going through their transformation in a sense. Because you have to understand one thing, that when we move to certain locations, we're there at those locations to serve our karma, okay? And I say all that to say because addresses and locations, sometimes we think that we're just moving. It's like, we're just moving. I'm going to move over here. No, we don't just move just to be moving. But what you don't know is it was already being divinely guided in the situation, because there was some sort of lesson that you need to learn at whatever specific locations that you were at in a sense. Whereas you could not have done what you needed to do and learn what you needed to learn in a specific location. So God will sometimes move you and shift you to a new location, okay? Hence is to say that I did hear somebody kind of thinking about going to Hawaii in a sense, and it's almost like energetically telling them, well, just be mindful of going over there, because there's some things that's kind of going over there right now where the people are asking people not to come over there, because they're trying to do their inner healing and do their rebuilding of, their island in a sense, okay? Okay, so I'm sorry, I forgot one thing too. So just as you move out, there's somebody who's going to move in, but it's almost like this is like the representation of the red pill, except there was no red pill, but there was a red hat. So it's almost like there's going to be somebody who's giving up their hat in a sense, and because it was a red hat, that was some sort of power, that was some sort of, it just depends. But the way I got it was more of low vibrational energy, whether it was power, control, all the things associated with red, which is aggressiveness, and all those other things. So it's almost like that person was choosing to give up that hat and pass that hat on to someone else that they had chose to give it to, okay? But again, you have to keep in mind that when somebody's giving you something, you have to, this is almost like hair weave, okay? So I say all that to say, when you take and wear somebody else's hair, it's almost like you kind of embody their energy in a sense. So if somebody wasn't moving with integrity, morals, values, and all those other things, then you yourself may find yourself not moving in the same way if you choose to take whatever it is that somebody's trying to hand you or pass down to you, or pass whatever baton to you, okay? Because that's how family generations, I didn't get that this person was family, but it was almost like, okay, you need to pick someone who you want to be in your spot in a sense and hand that baton to them in a sense, okay? So with that being said, oh, and this is the last message. This morning I was hearing the song Blessed Are the Children, okay? I can't remember that song. It was, I don't know if it was the Ozzy Brothers. Oh my God, I tried so hard to remember who that song was, and eventually I'll figure it out, but right now I can't. But the tone, the beat goes like this. For those of you who are music lovers, you probably may know what I'm talking about. But this is the only part that I can remember because this is the part that stood out. It kept saying, blessed are the children. Is it devotion? Oh, thank you, Spirit. I think it's devotion, the song Devotion or whatever. I just got it. Write that down. Anyway, the song Devotion. So, all morning I was trying to figure out that, and it's almost like all of a sudden Spirit gives me the answer to it. So I think it's the song Devotion or whatever the case may be. So you can go listen to that, because right now God is just trying to say that, hence to say, this is the scripture that came through, okay? This is 2 Corinthians 1:21, and it says, now it is God who makes both of us and you stand firm in Christ. So some of you have had to have some tumultuous situations, some tumultuous experiences, things that you normally would never do, things that you would normally never say, and any experience that you may have had to do, just know that it was being divinely guided, okay? It says he anoints us, sets his seal of ownership on us, and puts his spirit in our hearts as a deposit, guarantee what is to come, okay? So I say all that to say that some of you were born with a heart of unconditional love, and you don't even realize that, but that is what's the key of making you a chosen one. And I say all that to say God's people, okay? So no matter whatever situation that you may have went through, whatever experiences that you have went through, just know that all these things I just heard was shaping you and forming you into being still coming out on top and not allowing the situation to overtake you, but to know that you are built of unconditional love, okay? And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end that there. But if you guys want to follow me on TikTok, feel free to do so. There's some additional information over there as well too, okay? So with that being said, I wish you all much love and much light. And I will say this, remember that I'm recording this on Thanksgiving Day. So hopefully you guys are remembering the history behind Thanksgiving Day and the genocides amongst the Native American people in the process of when you are partaking in the feast or the festivals that ones is having in a sense. So keep that in mind as well too, okay? So anyway, I'm going to end it there, but I wish you all much love, much light on your journey until the next message. Bye.